Assalamu alaikum everyone, this is Hulkistan here with the Stani Army Verdict to review the South Africa versus Pakistan second ODI that finished about an hour or two ago, and what a match it was. Today joining us we have Shazad.
Assalamu alaikum everyone.
And debuting today we have Mo. Thank you for joining us.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having me, man. It's good to be here. I love you guys got good content, so it's good to be here, man.
No worries, man. What a day you chose to join the show, Mo, is all I can say. What did you make of it? How your heart stop beating?
But it was an eventful. I think just any game where South Africa is in the pink tops ends up being some sort of drama in the game anyway. But yeah, it's been an eventful game without a doubt. We've had big knocks from South Africa's side. Temba obviously stood up. Vadedusen, who is a player I rate highly in the South African side, he definitely stood up. David Miller took it over the line in the first innings, and then obviously the main event of it all, Zaman's 192, I think it was, where he finished off. And as a Lahore Qalandars fan, I was very pleased with that, even though it didn't turn out the result how we wanted. But yeah, I was very pleased with that.
Yeah, it was an amazing inning by Fakhar Zaman. So he was 7 away from his double 100. Obviously, he has one before that he has. He made over in Africa in Zimbabwe. But before we get to that, which is going to be obviously the main focus of the show, if we just go back to the selection. So after the first ODI, during which there was a lot of conversation on social media about the selection, should Asif Ali have been in, should he be out, etc. And I know that there were a lot of people that were hoping for some changes to be made today. But Shazad, what did you think then when you woke up and you saw that the team was exactly the same, unchanged, winning combination, as I heard by some people put it?
I don't understand the strategy behind what the management are trying to do. We've got better players in the helm. Why are they not trying? For example, Heather is one name which comes to mind. He is kind of poised to be the next big thing. So why is he not getting the chances? Is something beyond me? He should have been given a chance. Asif Ali, again, we keep on saying that Misbah is doing a trick by playing him and trying to make him finish. But I think he is probably tried and tested, and he has so many consistent failures. He's not made for international cricket, in my honest opinion. Today's game was all about one man. It was a one-man show. It was Fakhar Zaman. If we talk about selection, nobody else clicked. It still hurts the way he got one out, but I think only if a couple of more players clicked along with him, we never know. We might be sitting on a different result.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, the Asif Ali issue has been a bit contentious. So let me just pull Shazeb in. Assalamu alaikum, Shazeb. Can you hear us okay?
Alaikum assalam. All good. Yeah, sorry about that. Hope everyone's all right. Back in.
Sorry. Mo, just coming to you then, the selection. What do you make of Asif Ali, and why do you think that we've been persevering with him?
You know what?
I honestly.
Oh God,
was it to me or to the Shazeb?
That question was to Mo.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I honestly don't know why they're persisting with. It makes sense, honestly. I think Asif Ali, he has so much potential, and he's rarely ever clicked for Pakistan. So I guess they're trying to push for the right moment. In South Africa, it's going to be a hard shot anyway. I would have expected Haider Ali to be given a shot at number 5. It made a lot of sense. Some people are talking about potentially putting Sarfraz in the middle order, not late enough where his strike rate ends up being a detriment to the side, because he isn't someone who's known to be having a strike rate of 150 plus. So somewhere around 4 or 5 is where Sarfraz has been rumored to be put in the side as well. So yeah, honestly, Asif Ali, I can understand why they persisted with him, but obviously it's not panning out. And with Haider Ali's performances in South Africa beforehand in the under-19 tour to South Africa as well, it just made a lot of sense. So I was definitely surprised to see Asif Ali still in the side in the first place.
Yeah, I think that where we are now, we have one ODI left, and the danger there is that if they drop Asif Ali and bring in Heather now, he's got one game to perform. So, if he doesn't get a score, then people will say, well, we gave him a chance and he failed. Let's go back to Asif Ali or, God forbid, Shoaib Malik. Because it can happen. We've seen it happen time and time over the past, where you get a player who's you give them one shot, they don't make the score, and then we just revert back to experience. The word I absolutely hate. But we are where we are. So we started off with our winning combination. We won the toss and we chose to bowl. We opened again with Shaheen and Hasnain. So Shazeb, last game we had where Hasnain was getting a little bit movement, and I was really happy that they've given Hasnain a try here. You've given him a couple of chances here. So what have you made about Hasnain today? Because his figures were 10 overs, 1 for 74. They're not exactly flattering, but I think he bowled a lot better than that. What did you make of him?
I think I agree with you. I remember us we've been saying for ages, we want to see Hasnain, and finally he's here. I think he's been crying the dreams for too long. And in the past 2 games, you know what? He's opened the bowling well with Shaheen. I think they've been a good combination together, opening the bowling. But I think it's at the end where he struggles a bit at depth. I think that's been his weakness, even in the domestic competition, the PSL. When it comes to bowling the depth, I think that's when his figures go a bit wrong. But when it comes to opening the bowling with a new ball, he moves the ball both ways, and he's very accurate. But let's not forget, he's still a very young fast bowler, and he will only improve. Well, I hope so anyway. But I think, as you mentioned about the figures, I think it's the death bowling, ruins the figures. I think how many runs did you see? With the 71, did you say? 72, 71?
Yeah, he gave 74, and then he came on at the death as well, didn't he? So obviously that's reflected in his figures.
Yeah. I think he had a good. I think he bowled a couple, 3-4 overs. He bowled. I think 1 over was good at the end, but then the other 3 weren't good. And I think that's the area where he needs to improve. And I'm confident that he will improve on the area. And he's bowled well. I'm very happy with him and Shaheen opening the bowling. I feel like that's a good combination. And you could tell today that the batsman Mark were being cautious about them too. They weren't, trying to go hard because they know they're good bowlers. But I've been happy with Hasnain, and hopefully they just keep giving him a chance, and he'll only improve in that sense.
Yeah, I suppose when you look at the young fast bowlers, we've got what happened with Naseem Shah, because obviously he's gone back to the sidelines at the moment. I think that they said that they were going to give him more to try over in domestic cricket, just to kind of blood him in a little bit more, give him a bit more experience, because he didn't have the best of experiences over in New Zealand, for example. I mean, Haris Rauf is another kind of 50-50 choice at the moment, isn't it? So, Mo, what have you made of Haris Rauf? And I know that at the end of the innings he came good, where he got some wickets, but overall, what have you made from him? That is he still living on his performances from the Big Bash League in Australia, or would you carry on with him?
I think in South Africa, I can definitely see where the selectors would choose to pick him. It was a lot more zippy. The conditions were a lot better to somewhere where there was a bit more dew, and the ball would drag up because of his aggression. He tends to try and he tries to stick to shorter balls to try and prove a point, and then he'd just get hit around the park. We've seen that when South Africa came to Pakistan themselves just a month and a half back. But Haris, I think he bowled better today. He definitely exceeded my expectations. I wouldn't have put him in the 11. I would have wanted Hassan Ali in the side over Haris Rauf. But I think it's clear to see the wickets he can take in the middle order. I think that being said, he does give runs away, and I don't think the game was necessarily just lost because of where Pakistan gave a lot of runs away. I think we've got to give credit to both South Africa's tight bowling and Pakistan's failure in the middle order as well. So
Yeah, I think with Hassan Ali, that's a really good point, because he did have COVID a short while ago, and I've heard that he's still recovering. So I'm not sure whether he's back to 100% fitness or not. So I think that might have played into the reason to give Haris Rauf another go. But obviously in the third ODI, if they bring Hassan back in, then there's always a question of who's going to drop, Haris Rauf, Hasnain. They're definitely not dropping Shaheen no matter what. So it'll be an interesting there. We move on to South Africa's innings then. So we got the wicket just at the end of the first power play, but then they put together a big partnership between Quinton de Kock and the captain Bavoma. We just over 100 runs. So Quinton de Kock was actually out just on the 30.1 overs. But during that partnership, Shazad, what did you think? How many runs did you think that South Africa were actually going to end up with? Where did you think that the breakthrough was going to come from? What were your thoughts during those 20 overs between overs 10 and 30?
10 and 30. I think South Africa were playing very solid innings, like with their captain leading from the front, and especially the openers. They made a really good score. I think the second wicket was lost after 170 runs. Like getting that solid start. The other players that came in the middle, I think that was quite expected when we were seeing David Miller and Dustin and Callison coming in. They were going to smash the ball all over the park. That's what they did. 300 was on the cards. I think the way we were bowling as well, we were a bit rusty. If you look at our prime bowler, Shaheen, I think he wasn't probably in his best. In terms of bowling options for us, so I'm swaying away from the question, just coming back to our bowling options. Initially, when the series started, I personally preferred Hasnan over Rauf. Hassan, as Mo, you mentioned that we would have preferred him. We all prefer him, but I think he's still recovering. He's still not 100% to come back into the team. Initially, I would have preferred Hasnan over Rauf, but seeing Rauf bowling in the death overs, the way he contained runs compared to other bowlers we have, I think the helm might have changed a little. Like for the next match, if there's an option to drop Hasnan and Rauf, I'll probably keep Rauf ahead of Hasnan. Hasnan is good in the opening overs, but he becomes a little wavered in the middle or death overs. So definitely, if Hassan is fully recovered, I will definitely have Hassan. Shaheen, he's proven himself, so I don't think he's going anywhere. So Hassan, Shaheen, and Rauf will be a good option. So coming back to South Africa batting, I think they started really well. They got a really good start. Even in the middle, they were like smashing the ball all over the park. They did really well to reach 350.
Yeah, that's a good point. I just want to apologize to the viewers. I'm having some technical issues here with the comments. I can't see the comments and I can't show them. While the show carries on, I'll see if I can resolve that, but apologies for that. I have got the comments here in front of me, though, so I will be reading them out as we go through this. So most of the comments are around, obviously, Fakhar Zaman and the contentious way that he got out, and then there were the other 5 runs as well. So let me just go through the finish of South African innings, and then we'll come to that, which I think is obviously going to be the bulk of the show. So South Africa finished off on 341 for 6. Obviously, you had David Miller, who came in towards the end and gave the fireworks there. Does anyone remember who was it that he took a lot of those runs off in? Was it the last over or the penultimate over? Was it Shaheen or?
I just realized, yeah, Shaheen conceded 20 in the last over and we lost the game by 17 runs. I just realized that myself. So when you look at it like that, it's a bit mad. But yeah, Miller, like, you know, with their batting, they all chipped in. I think I was mentioning before. And with us, obviously, Fakhar made the bulk of the. I think the top 4 made at least 30, or top 5 maybe even. South Africa, they all chipped in, and they all chipped in to make 3-4-1, which helped them make that big total. With us, it was totally the opposite. And even Van Dussen, he made 50 of, I think it's about 30 odd balls as well. So we haven't got them type of batsmen to get us over the line. They have.
Yeah.
And we've been saying over the years, we need the middle over batsmen that can come in, hit it over the rope, and them power hitters we are just generally missing. And a lot of the top teams have that, which we don't. And I think we've got 2 years left until the 50-over World Cup. Even T20, realistically, we need to find these batsmen, whether it's in the PSL domestically, because we are really lacking that department.
Credits to South Africa's middle order as well, because we saw Van der Dussen and Miller. They knew exactly what they were doing at the end of the game. With the pitch as well, attacking certain part of the pitches, you could see anything straight or leg side was being hit straight towards square leg, where there was the shortest boundary, I think 60 odd meters compared to the 72 on the other side. And they were constantly attacking that. Van der Dussen wanted to play more expansive innings, and we saw that after. So yeah, credits to South Africa on that side as well.
Yeah, so they ended up on 341 for 6. Now, I know before this series, Babar Azam said that he wants us to play modern day cricket. And so I was hoping that modern day cricket is obviously, like you see, Australia, England do basically, getting consistently over 300. So there was a part of me that thought, okay, I'm happy that South Africa got a really good challenging score here, 341, and it will put us to the test now. So I missed the first few overs of the game, but then when I came back to put it on, we were at 12 for 1 of 5 overs. Now, that's not modern at all, but at the end of 10 overs, we had about 60, 65, I think. So they pulled it back, and I can understand, okay, we lost him arm cheaply, but we pulled it back to 6 and over. But then from there onwards, it just kind of went away, really. But Fakhar Zaman coming in at the top of the over there. He's lost his opening partner. He's coming in. He's batting with his captain now. 193 he got, and by the end of it, you could see in his face that he was absolutely knackered. Yeah, and I know I've banged on about this before over and over again, but I'm going to say it again. That just shows the fitness that he has. He faced 155 balls, more than half the balls in the innings, and he was still going at the end. And he wasn't run out because he was tired or anything. He was run out from a cheeky trick, shall we say, which we'll come to in a minute. Yeah, but that just shows the fitness that he had to actually carry on for that long. And I just had shades of Abdul Razak, really, from that South Africa game quite a few years ago now. I thought, is he going to do it? And we came so close to 17 runs short. Shazeb, what did you make of Fakhar Zaman? Because I know that you said that this has been the best ODI innings that you've ever seen. So I think that says it all, really, doesn't it?
It was like, it was a scenario where he was batting with like the tail enders, and the way he took authority, making twos, hitting the boundary when needed, the way he planned his innings, it was fantastic. Like, even when he got to his 50, I think he was up like 55 or 75 balls, I think he was batting at. So he took his time. He wasn't like, the wickets were falling around him, but he's still stuck in there. The short ball where all the batsmen struggled at, he played it while he left it. He wasn't panicking at all. And it's the way he built up all the way to the 193. It was just amazing. It was so sad that it was on the losing course. If he won that game, imagine the scenes like, I would have been going at my house to celebrate at the turn there. One of those ones. But it was just so sad.
Can I just say to all of you, obviously Shazeb would have been socially distanced when he did that. Birmingham.
Yeah, probably would have got Umar with me as well. Yeah, it was so sad that he was in the losing course. You could tell that he was genuinely hurt, because I watched the post-match interview, and I think one of the questions were, is this one your best innings? And he must have said no, because we were on the losing course. He's made a double century in the past against Zimbabwe, but such top innings, he's done everything right. And like you said, in the manner of the way he got out, I wanted him to get his double century at least for his personal milestone. And you must forget that he was batting under pressure as well. A lot of people were saying, after one innings, that in the last inning, get him out the team, get someone else in. There was a lot of people saying that, to be fair. And he just done his thing, got the score, but unfortunately, it was in the losing cause. Overall, I've gotten away with it with just, top innings.
Yeah, Amy just put up on the comments that in Zaman versus New Zealand 92. So for those of us that were lucky enough to watch that one, that was in the semi-final, where I think he hit about something like 60 or 30 odd balls when he was staring defeat in there, and he came in and he started batted with Javed Miandad. Omar saying that this was the best innings by far that he's witnessed, given the context and batting with the lower order. Again, as you mentioned there, Shazeb, is he going to be out, etc. And then Razak versus South Africa there as well, which I've mentioned as well. It was just an absolutely amazing inning. Shazad, what else can you say about it that Shazeb hasn't?
I think it was phenomenal innings. What hurts the most is the way he got out. You mentioned it was a cheeky trick. I will say it was an absolutely ridiculous cheating trick. And as per the laws, this is illegal. I think we pointed out in our discussions in the chat. This is something like at least someone should have commented on it in the commentary box. Well, when that run out happened, everyone was laughing in the commentary box, which was more hurtful, to be honest. I was just thinking, if fans like us knows this law, why doesn't the management or the coaches knows about it? The players needs to have that awareness. They need to be educated. Even the coaches need to be educated. If they can't be educated, they should have known this from the start. But if they don't know it, there's something wrong. They need to know it. They need to point it out. They need to appeal against it. More than Pakistan losing that match, I was more sad that Fakhar couldn't reach his 200. Reaching 200 is not something normal. It's a very, very rare sort of innings. We don't see that very often. So I would have loved to see him reaching 200. And I was really hurt that the way he got out in that fashion of cheating.
Yeah. So I've got the rules up here. But before I'm going to read them out, because it was such a phenomenal innings, Mo, what are your thoughts on it before I jump into the controversies?
Yeah, I agree with everything said, man. I think it's definitely his last few innings, even though I don't think he's been performing massively badly during the last few innings. There's definitely been talk about why is Zaman still on the side. He's too aggressive, he loses his wicket too early. But then the same argument's been flipped on the other side for Imam, where they're saying that he bats too slowly. So there's definitely the double standards there, which I don't understand. I think Imam and Barber is a perfect partnership for me at the top order. But yeah, it's proved the selectors wrong. He's had a rocky road for a while now. He's come back, proved them wrong in South Africa, in a place where every other player, even Barber, was even caught out early. He's been able to score that many runs. Even if he made 120, 105, we would have been more than happy with that because it's just such good circumstances. We had amazing bowling from Anrik Nokia, Kagisa Rabada, Lungi Ngidi. So all of those guys to be scoring that many runs against them is nothing short of amazing, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the thing that the people were. There were obviously rumours that okay, he had the double century against Zimbabwe, but no disrespect to Zimbabwe, it was Zimbabwe, and then we were waiting to see that against one of the higher ranked teams. So as you mentioned, Mo, it was brilliant to see him doing it against such a caliber of bowlers before the bulk of the team flies off. So because they're not obviously going to be there for the third ODI. So just going on to the law then. So for those of you who don't know this, Law 41.5.1 states, in addition to 41.4, it is unfair for any fielder willfully to attempt, by word or action, to distract, deceive, or obstruct either batsman after the striker has received the ball. So Quentin de Kock clearly. He was signaling to, I think it was Ngidi that was over at the non-strikers end, kind of giving Fakhar the impression that the ball was going to be thrown to the non-strikers end. Obviously, it was thrown to Quentin de Kock at the strikers end, and he ran him out. But as soon as Fakhar saw Quentin de Kock pointing to Ngidi at the non-strikers end, he slowed down and he looked behind him, and obviously that 1 or 2 seconds cost him his wicket. And then afterwards, obviously he laughed at Fakhar and he pointed at him as well. And the commentators found it all funny as well. I think a couple of minutes later when they started doing the replays. Now, I don't think that the commentators were aware of the law, but the umpires should. And the umpires should be aware of all the little nuanced laws, the laws that none of us have ever heard of. That's their job. So it'll be interesting. Obviously, the match is over, unfortunately, now, but it'll be interesting to see what the match referee says, if anything, on what comes out from the ICC. But like Shazad, like you said, I've always been a stickler, follow the rules. Okay, I've had my discussions with everyone over mancading and all that, but if it's in the rules, as long as you follow the rules, it's all good. But according to the rules here, it is cheating. It's unfair for any fielder to do that. So I agree with Shazad. It was definite cheating there. What do you think on that, Shazad?
To be honest with you, I had no idea about the law. When it happened, I was like, that's very cheeky from him. And then that's when I went on Twitter and I seen the law. And I read it. I was like, you know what? It's wrong. It's against the law. And I don't think Fakhar knew as well, because if he knew the law, surely he would have stopped and then spoke to the umpire and said, look, he done this. And they would have, reviewed it. But for some reason, umpires, I don't know why they never gave it. Like, they could have called him back. The third umpire could have, gave a note to the on-field umpires that said, you can call him back. Can't do that. But yeah, like, I'm not saying he would have won the game, but Fakhar could have got to his double century, maybe. It would have been 3 off. I think the 5 penalty runs that they got towards his squad, is it? I'm not sure about that. But anyway, he could have got to his double century. It would have been another milestone. And who knows, we lost the game by 17 runs. If we add those 5 runs on, that's 11. And then who knows, if he was still at the crease, he could have hit a couple more boundaries and could have won the game. But I don't want to say, that's the reason why we lost the game. We had our own problems. We got bigger issues to worry about, like our batting, the death ball, stuff like that. But end of the day, it is against the law, and someone should have done something. It's the on-field umpires, whether it's a third umpire, even one of the coaches or management could have maybe just quickly come out and just signal there, say, listen, go back. But like I said, I was unaware of this, and I'm guessing a lot of them didn't know as well. But the umpires should know the law. That's their job, end of the day. So yeah,
definitely. We even have our resident Stani Army judge / barrister Omar Riaz saying in the comments, it was illegal, hands down. The umpires not being aware of the laws is unforgivable. 100%. How could the guys policing the game not know the rules? And that's the point there. it's fine. The players don't need to know the rules inside out, but the umpires are there for that. The umpires aren't there just to call, a wide and a no ball and give an LBW decision out. They're there for absolutely everything. As Omar carries on, there's no interpretation to the rules. It's there in black and white. So it'll be interesting to see what's the aftermath of this. What actually comes out from the match referee, from the ICC, what their official wording on this. But like you said, Shazeb, there's no way that we can say we lost the game because of that. Because there's ifs and buts at the end of the day. But it was still a sticking point. And we've actually had one of the Habibis in Stani Army who's had a look back, and there is actually a precedent where it's been called out. Now, I remember that there were a couple of times when I'm sure I've seen Sangakkara's done the same thing as a keeper, and Bairstow did the same to Steve Smith in the Ashes, actually. And I remember the Steve Smith incident where he dived for it, and Bairstow, he wasn't run out, but Bairstow just kind of laughed at him, and the commentators didn't call it out at all either. So it's not a common law that everyone's aware of. But in the T20 Blast last year in the quarterfinals, you had who was playing? It was the Nottingham and Leicester were playing, sorry. And the Foxes opener Nick Welch, he played Imad Wasim into the leg side, and then Steve Mullane, one of the fielders, he was adjudged to have simulated an attempt to slide for the ball, and they quote that law as well. And this is in the Wisdom comments. We'll post this on our Stani Army Twitter account. Then after conferring with the square leg official, the umpire signaled 5 penalty runs to the scorers. So umpires are aware of it, but that's at a domestic level. At the international level, if they don't know it, that's just downright. That's just
incompetency. Yeah,
that's just unforgivable at the end of the day. So, like I say, it'll be interesting to see what the ICC will say about this. But it's done now. We can't do anything about it. It's just sad that it just came on. When Fakhr was a few runs away from his double century. Sorry, Shazeb, you going to say something?
Yeah, I just hope they actually call it out and say we made a mistake. I hope they don't try using any excuses or try to make it look like they never done anything wrong. I hope they admit it openly and say, listen, we made a mistake here. The umpires were unaware, whatever they say, and they fully call it out. So for future references, all the teams are aware. But yeah, I just say I hope they do call it out properly.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That because if they try and kind of bluff their way out of it,
definitely,
it just annoys you. Then, so you just want them to say, look, we hold our hands up. We made a mistake. Fair enough. Okay, everyone makes mistakes. Yeah, but yeah, we'll see what they say. Shazad, you were quite obviously passionate, shall I say, when that incident actually happened. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about it, or now that I've read the rules out for everyone?
I think what's done is done. But what, as Shazeb mentioned, that we would like to see some official comments coming out, something to recognize it and acknowledge it. Not just brush it under the carpet, because it's happened, it's cheeky, it's funny. It's not funny for us, obviously. Like losing someone. He was robbed of his double century, which, as I said before, it's a rare occasion, rare thing to happen. So some sort of responsibility, some sort of comments, apology, maybe. I think that should come out, and that's from the match referee or the other team, but from our coaches as well. Some sort of comments should be made. Were they aware of the rule? Did they know about it? Did they not know about it? Again, we are fans. If we can dig out and bring up these rules, as you said, these are officials. These are umpires officiating at international level. That this is their duty. You're paid to do this. If you're not following it, what's the point of you just standing there giving wides? Everything else is done by DRS and cameras. So at least you can read out the rules, or you should know the rules. And that's from the officials in the match, but also from management, like the coaches. I would love to see what Mispa has to say on this. I would love to see some comments coming out, because that is the only way we can satisfy that ickness we had inside us right now.
Yeah, definitely. Omar saying that fuck.
I think as he froze.
Yeah, I think Hulk has frozen, but he was going to read this Omar's comment where he's saying, as Fakhr said, it was his own fault. He doesn't blame the cock, which is kind of instinct, I would say, when someone is, pointing out towards the other end, oh, throw the ball there, he's going to get out there. It's natural instinct. It's not a fault, I would say, but this is something he was distracted and he got into that trick. So not a fault, but a natural instinct, I would say, and he was cheated into doing that.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to move on from that decision over to another bit of controversy. So towards the end of the innings, I think it was Fakhar again, where he hit the ball out within the circle. I can't remember if it was mid-on or mid-off, and Bavuma was fielding there, and he actually tried to, he parried it, and then when he fell down, I can't remember if he was actually wearing his hat was just on the floor. The ball dropped, and it dropped on the hat. Now, if the ball touches a foreign object on the pitch, the batting team get awarded 5 penalty runs. But more, that didn't happen, did it? Again, the umpires didn't spot it, and I'm pretty sure that the commentators didn't spot it either, did they?
Yeah, no, you're right. I think that there's obviously been the comment as well on the side saying that there's potentially bias with home umpires. But to be honest, I think commentators, we can let it slide. On today's occasion, you could see how much laughter the commentators were having anyway. They looked like they were having a good time. They probably didn't spot it. The players in the moment and coaching staff potentially didn't spot it. I would have expected, though, at the minimum, for something to be said by either the captain, Misbah Haq, or just the umpires themselves, because that's 2 occasions. And I think maybe there is all that home umpire bias. Should there be neutral umpires for all the games forthcoming? I think there should be. But yeah, it's really the umpire's fault. But would I say that impacts the end result? It is 10 runs at the end of the day. I think we fell short by about 30. I wouldn't.
Runs we fell short by, so it's over 50% of that.
Yeah. So but I would like to see the umpires acknowledge it, like he said, but I wouldn't base our loss because of that. I wouldn't say that, okay, with Farker should have been stayed in. That's the reason we lost the game. At the end of the day, our middle order collapsed. Zaman was there. There's all these factors of his fatigue coming into play. Could he have chased those runs and hit 5 6s in a row in the 49th over to even take us over the total, which is a small chance anyway, despite his 192. So yeah, it was disappointing to see, but I wouldn't blame that on our loss completely now.
Yeah, fair enough. You touched on the home. Sorry, Shazad, go on.
Yeah, I may have missed that incident. If you read out what exactly happened, the ball launched and it went onto an hat. Was it on the ground or was it won by a player?
Well, Umar said in the comments that I'm just reading it now. He said, so the ball was hit out. I think it was, I can't remember if it was mid on or mid off. Bavuma put his hands up. He parried the ball. He fell down. I think the hat was on his head, and then the hat fell on the floor, I think, and then the ball dropped onto the hat. So it hit a foreign object on the pitch. So I'm not sure exactly what the rules are, if it has to affect the direction of the ball or what. But if it hits a foreign object, then 5 penalty runs are awarded, effectively, full stop. So unless I see anything to the contrary to that, unless any of our viewers can say anything, if they could dig out the law, 5 runs.
I have one more comment to make. That sometimes umpires on the field, they can't catch everything. Obviously, they're humans, but I'm just thinking the TV umpire officiating the match, he's watching everything. Could he not intervene or make a comment that this has happened? This needs to be looked at?
I was gonna say as well, with all that's happened with them decisions, I think the third umpire's got a lot to answer for, because he's the one who normally, I've seen it happen in the past. If something like this happens, it's a third umpire who normally, tells the on-field umpire, and then they signal it 5 runs, blah, blah. So I think, like you said there, Shazad, I think the TV umpire has missed a few, incidents today, but we move on, you know what I mean? I just hope, like I've said, just make a statement, whatever it is, and just acknowledge that, okay, the umpires have messed up, final on the matter, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point that we make sure, about the third umpire, the TV umpire, that although he can't officially intervene, they still have the on-field umpire, still have the earpiece, and we can obviously say something to them and say, oh, hang on, we need to look at this, and that should be fair enough. But it didn't happen. It's 10 runs that we missed out on. We lost by 17 runs. Would it have changed the result of the game? I don't know. We move on.
It would have. It would have.
It would have.
You never know.
We take on the chin and we move on. So we've discussed Fakhar's 193 run out. Could have been in a winning cause. Unfortunately, he was in the losing cause. Deservedly, he got the man of the match for this. And obviously, deservedly, he's going to be keeping his place in the third ODI, which I believe is on Wednesday. Now, if you look at our middle order, so obviously at this time Barber wasn't able to make the bulk of the runs. He was out for 31, but then you had Rizwan, Danish new, then you had Shadab, who was actually promoted above us. I thought that was a bit odd, that was promoting Shadab above Asif. I know that Shadab bats quite high for his PSL team, but putting Asif down to 7, if no matter what we all say that okay, Asif shouldn't be in the team, he's in the team there, he's in the team as a middle order. Don't you think that demoting him was a bit, doesn't say much about him, much for him, does it, Mo?
No, I think there might be the influence of Shadab being VC, if I'm not wrong, still right now. That might have influenced it.
Is he still the vice captain?
I think when the selection came out, he was under vice captain. And then, like you said, the whole influence of him putting himself up the order to like number 4 for Islamabad United, scoring a few times, I think in 2019 or 2020 season, but not so much in 2021. That would have had an impact. But when you take Asif Ali to number 7, it's almost like he's a dead body. He might as well play as one of the lower all-rounders. But for me, I think it just comes back to selections. I would have played 5 true batsmen up until number 5 or 6. I then look to start playing the likes of Nawaz, Fahim, and then Shadab and rotate around that, and then look to your true there. I think 3 all-rounders and then looking to play your seamers would have been enough. I don't think Shadab and Fahim is going enough, to be honest, with Asif Ali in the side as well.
Yeah, I think the whole thing about Shadab, I know that he's come back from injury recently, but I think there was a stat earlier on that said in the past 6-7 odd games he hasn't picked up a single wicket for Pakistan. And then I'm a big fan of Usman Qadir as a bowler. I'd love to see him get a chance. But with Shadab, obviously he's tried and tested. He did have a permanent place in the team. Then obviously he's been injured, but it's not picking up a single wicket in the past 6-7 games. That is worrying, definitely worrying, because if you're not picking up wickets, okay, then you need to at least tie up one end, hold the run down. Just looking at his figures on the Shadab, he gave 9 over 64, so he wasn't doing that anyway. I mean, okay, yeah, it was a high-scoring game for 341 that South Africa made, but I'm just thinking that, could we maybe think to bring in Usman Qadir? But if you bring in Usman, we're going to lose a batsman, because I don't think Usman's an all-rounder, is he? And batting is a bit of a problem. So good luck, Misbah and Barber is all I can say to that. But I mean, what did you make of Danish Aziz then, Shazeb?
If I'm being honest here, today he looked like he was nowhere. Like the way they kept bowling short to him, he just looked lost. And at the end of the day, I can't just blame him and be like, look, he's poor, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's in his second one-day game. He's used to playing on flat decks in Pakistan, majority to spinners. He's never probably come across this type of bowling before. I'm trying to say, like, it's only recently where his name has come up domestically. And in the domestic format, I've seen some of the highlights and, playing on small pitches. He's taking the spinners to the cleaners. This is just a different ball game. Like, I don't want to see, like, just him at the team, 2 matches done, dusted. But today, he did look like he was lost. Like, he got hit in the helmet once as well. And he didn't look it, you know what I mean, trying to say to you. But that's the thing, like, if we compare ourselves to someone, I don't want to compare ourselves to India, but like when their players come through, they've had plenty of games domestically and they come through. With us, they'll have good 10-15 games, then straight in internationally, you know what I mean? That's the difference between developing our players and then you look at their batsmen coming through, they come in and smash it straight away. I think one of the other guys mentioned recently is one of the Indian batsmen, I forgot his name, who come in and literally
I think it was Ishan.
Yeah, he's an incredible cricketer, man.
Yeah, and come in and you just literally stunk the archer like like it's nothing. With us, that's not going to happen because, like I said, us will play a competition, whether it's PSL or the National T20 comp. They'll have like a good tournament, get a couple of 100 runs in the whole tournament, and then they'll come straight into the team. Less experience, but that's where we are, behind with the other teams, and I can't just blame it on him. There were other batsmen today as well that I failed. And regarding Shadab, just to pick up, I am starting to get worried about him because, like you said, last 7 games, no wickets. It is a worry at the end of the day. And as a batsman, he did have the one good PSL. Not this one, I think it was last year, 2019, I think it was, where he come at number 4, made a good few innings. But I don't really see him as a power hitter to come in at number 6, which is why I think he promoted himself today. what is his role as a batsman? Because I don't see him as a number 7 or 8, come in, get 20, 30 runs off 10 balls at the end. It looks more like a player that will come in, get a run of ball 30, 40, that's about it. But yeah, it's a lot of decisions from Misbah. The combination, like you said, with Nawaz coming in, what's going to happen. But yeah, going forward, we do need to switch up. Me personally, I'll begin Heather and Nawaz for Asif and maybe Danish Aziz, because with Nawaz, right, I know with bowling wise, I've seen enough to suggest to me that he can bowl 10 overs economically, maybe pick up a few wickets. It's the batting where I really want to see, because internationally, I haven't really seen him bat like, good innings. He's done it in the past in the PSL and whatnot, but when it comes to batting, I haven't really seen much, which is why I wanted to come and see what I can do with the bat, because with the way he's looking, I think he's a replacement for Imad Wasim. I don't think they're going to pick Imad unless he, unless they got no other options. But yeah, I'd put in Nawaz and Heather for Asif and Danish Aziz next 2 games.
Yeah, there's a question for you on the comments, Mo, but before I come to that, I just want to make a couple of points. So Shoaib, thanks for joining. You said that it's not a place to debut against South Africa. I've seen that before when it comes to Pakistan, that it's not a place to debut against in New Zealand or in Australia or South Africa. That's the mentality that we just have to. I think that we need to move past. We can't pick and choose the easy tours or the easy home, the home tours to say that okay, this is where we can blood a new player in. We can't do that. We can't pick and choose them. At the end of the day, like Shazay mentioned with Ishan when he came in against England, that's a tough game, but he still did it. So I think personally, I think we need to move past that mentality and say, "Oh, this is a tough place to debut, or this is an easy place." If you get your debut, you need to grab it with both hands, no matter who it is against, no matter where you're playing. So just picking up on one of the points there with Shazad about where India, I think Ishan came in, and then India have obviously spent a lot of time kind of developing him in their domestic leagues. So I think that for the Pakistan domestic league, there are some changes now. I think that they're cutting down the teams to small. I think it's 6 teams, is it? I don't know, but what do you make of that? What do you make of the changes? And do you think that we're making the right moves to actually start to focus more on the domestic scene in Pakistan?
I think it's unfair to compare with India. Their structure, their systems is way ahead. Like Ishan, he's a newcomer in the international team, but he's been doing well in the domestic. Like his performances speaks for itself in the domestic. If we compare our selections, for example, starting with Danish, he was initially considered for T20s. Why? Because he was performing well in T20s. His average in T20s are 41. Right, then he was thrusted into one-day international team, and like we're taking players' performances in one format, and then getting selections done into a different format. That really doesn't mean a compatible selection that they're trying to do. So Danish looked really unsettled. He was nervous. I think he was all over the place. He couldn't handle it, which kind of shows he needs more time back in domestic, at least play list day matches.
Sorry, Shazad, but has he not had that time in domestic though? I mean, how many more games or seasons do you think he actually needs? Has he not had that already? What more will he get from the domestic scene, do you think?
He only has played, I think, about 30 odd games in domestic, and I think that's not enough. That's not enough. If you look at other international teams, when their players are thrusted into an international arena, they are at least coming with the performances in at least 50, 60 matches. I think we make our selections too early, probably. If he's doing well in T20s, just play him in T20s first and see how he performs there. In domestic, in one-day international, in list day matches, there are other players who have better average than Danish. They could have been considered ahead of him, but Danish was given a chance. He's not even an all-rounder. He's a part-time bowler. That sixth option that we keep talking about in bowling terms, Danish is not the name that can fill that spot. So one thing, I think Danish selection in one-day international is too early. Second, coming back on Shadab. Shadab, after injury, has been rusty. And we keep hearing these comments that, he came back from injury, he's rusty, he's going to get better. But why do you want to polish his rust in international games? send him to domestic, make him play some games. Like let the shine come back in domestic and bring him back. But obviously, he was made vice captain. He was doing really well before his injury, so that takes precedence. Like the impression, the kind of personality or the past performances he has, he kind of takes that lead and that takes precedence, and he's pushed back into the team. But I reckon that given now he's played a few games, he hasn't performed. I think it's probably right to make him rest. Otherwise, it will be unfair with him. We have seen what has happened with Naseem. He was poised to be someone big in the game. So we don't want to repeat the mistakes. Someone is not performing. We've pushed him too early into the game. Probably that's not the right strategy. So Shadab should be rested, and Nawaz probably should be given the chance in the next game. Danish should be rested, probably sent back in domestic. I won't mind having Safraz playing as number 6 batsman. He's not as bad.
Shazad.
I'm saying that because in the middle, what options do we have?
Where's the remove button?
What options do we have in the 15? If we take out Danish, if we take out Shadab, who are we left with? So Nawaz can replace Shadab, but who will replace Danish? We don't have any other batsmen. We have Asif. He needs to go out as well. So if Asif, Shadab, and Danish are dropped, we don't have any other alternatives. We have to use what we picked. Sarfraz has been picked in the 15, so he is not a bad batsman. I'm sure he will do better than Danish, at least in South Africa, given his experience. So probably for the next game, even though South Africa will lose their prime 6 players, I think we should still go with full strength and try to win that match. That could create a false impression as well. It's a weak team. We should have won it. But trust me, it will create more pressure on the team. It will create that must-win mentality. And you never know, under pressure, any big team can crumble. So they need to go in with the full strength, give chances to the player who haven't played, and probably rest the players who are not performing well.
Okay. So I'm just going to go to that question for more there. Just before that, just point there, Umar says that Heather's actually going to go to England and the Caribbean to play the CPL and the Vitality Blast. And Schweb, you make a good point that English county is going to help. It's more challenging conditions and great experience. So that's something that we've discussed on these shows a number of times in the past, that we need to start sending the players out to the domestic leagues around the world, whether it's over in Australia, in Sri Lanka, in West Indies, so they get used to these different pitches. So when they go there, they're not alien pitches. Because how often have we heard when we go over on a tour to Australia, then we haven't played on these fast bouncy pitches on the fast bouncy wickets before, or so we need to let them off. It's like, come on, right? How hard is it? You see Adil Rashid for England. He had problems in the England squad. We were sent out to play in the Big Bash League. I can't remember if he played in the Sheffield Shield out there, but he played in the Big Bash League and he's come back and he's a match winner for England now. It pays dividends, so I'm not sure why they don't encourage that. And then just coming back to the question for you, Mo, Imi says, do you think that we need to play 6 bowlers? In my opinion, we're a bowler light. Remember, 3 seamers and Ajmal, Afridi and Hafiz. That used to set the games up for us.
Yeah, I think with the point I said about playing, I think that was because I made the point of playing 5 true batsmen, 3 all-rounders, and then 3 bowlers. I think that's less to do with us playing a lot of bowlers. It's more to do with us actually playing competent batsmen for now. I think up until 5, we'll have Zaman, Imam, Babar, Hafiz, and Haider top 5. And then your all-rounders. I think Nawaz in South Africa should have been a given. He's played in I can't remember the name of the tournament, but he's played South Africa's domestic tournament here. He's got good figures here, and he's a veteran, to be honest, now in shorter formats and ODI and T20 cricket across the world, especially in South Africa, because I think he's played good 2-3 seasons in there. So it should have been a given that he's in the side anyway. I think Fahim's a competent batsman, and then that alongside potentially playing Shadab, I don't see Shadab getting dropped at all with this tour because of him being vice captain. It's going to be a bad look for the PCB to drop him now, or from the VC position, let alone in the 11. So and then you have our 3 seamers, or whether you play Usman Qadir into that as well. That's what I would have gone with, I think. And then with the bowling options, when you have difficult positions in the side where Pakistan actually tends to, when we have good starts, we tend to get a bit laid back with our approach. I've seen in the past so many times where we could make a side 90 for 3 and the middle overs, and they could end up scoring 150, 200 runs. And at the end of it, we're looking at a completely different ball game to what Pakistan should have been looking at, like a match-winning game. So I think having that option, being able to play Nawaz, Fahim, and Shadab alongside our three true bowlers would be a good option for us as well. And then also back to the point on Danish Aziz, and there was also comments on Mohammed Wasim Jr. I think it's less. There's obviously been more send-outs to county cricket in England. I know Mohammed Abbas has just been signed for Hampshire. We see Hamza Mir playing Sussex, and Mohammed Abbas used to play for Leicestershire. I would like to see more Pakistan A cricket, to be honest. If anything, I think county cricket opportunities would always come about. We're seeing every country getting picks from them. There's just a Zimbabwe player just got signed for Kent. We've seen Marcus Harris now playing for Leicestershire. I think those opportunities always come about. Playing in the CPL, Pakistan and Caribbean will always come about. Those opportunities will always be there. T20 cricket as well. But I think the most important thing is when COVID ends, to really knuckle down on Pakistan A cricket. When you're going on these tours, try and arrange games with their A side so that players aren't coming to Australia and getting battered around. Because we saw Musa Khan when he came to Australia, got absolutely hammered. We've seen it in the past when Naseem made his debut. He shook Khawaja a bit, but then got hammered. So I'd like to see a more push on Pakistan A cricket. I think Tasneem Sama Khan made that point as well. If we invest in that, then it will be a case of they'll have domestic cricket experience. They'll come into a tour with actually being familiar with the conditions, not just practicing there. And then, saying, inshallah, hopefully they score a 50 on debut. So, yeah, that's the point I wanted to make about Danish Aziz. I think give him more time. I think Pakistan give their selections more early rather than just dropping players and pick and go wherever you like. I think it's just being more reluctant on our caps. Abdullah Shafiq got put into the test squad, I think, when South Africa came to Pakistan just a month and a half back, and he played one first-class game where he scored 133 runs. That to me seemed bonkers. It probably seems a little bit bonkers to a lot of people. So yeah, that was my point. I think invest in Pakistan A cricket, and we should be good for the future.
Yeah,
I have a question for you, Mo.
Go on.
I was thinking about it, and I couldn't make what Pakistan management thoughts are. Like, what do you think their thought process is behind not picking Heather and picking Danish ahead of Heather? If you look at Heather's record, he is averaging 45 in this side. And looking at his performances, not in one international, but in T20s, but like the talent, everyone acknowledges that he has that talent. So why is he been not picked in the lineup ahead of Asif or Danish?
I honestly couldn't put my finger in it. There's a lot of things that Pakistan's management doing that is controversial, to be honest. Haider Ali is not the first thing that's happened, but I don't know, maybe dropping Danish after the first game is a bad look. Danish Aziz has been in the side, South Shakil has been in the side, but he just haven't had his debut yet. So these kind of debuts are expected to be coming, even though in my eyes they shouldn't be happening in the first place. But yeah, maybe it's just a bad look to drop Danish after the first game, all the controversy after that, let alone bringing in Haider for the second. But yeah, I think just stick with Danish for the third one. I think we're having a weaker side. Stick with him for this tour. But actually, I would have preferred for Danish and South Shakil, if they're ever going to make the debut, start with Zimbabwe, not in South Africa, where we're going to do it from there, and just play more Pakistan A cricket, because they're coming into the side way too early, in my opinion.
Okay, you explained Danish, but what explains Asif ahead of Heather?
Honestly, I don't know. I think I had that question before. I think it's just the persistence. Asif Ali, he scores outside of Pakistan. I think at the end of the PSL before it got postponed, I think he had one decent innings there. Maybe that pushed him to be playing in the first place, but I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. I couldn't put my finger on why Pakistan is doing this.
I'll just take everyone in the background. Asif wasn't part of the one-day international squad. He was only thrusted in when South Shakil got injured. So my natural instinct would have been, okay, fine, Heather Ali would get the nod ahead, because Asif wasn't even part of the one-day international squad. So logically, Haider should have gotten a chance. But as you said, many things in Pakistan doesn't have any logic, so we'll let it go that way.
Yeah, Haider at 5 should be a given, to be honest. I don't know why he isn't in the side in the first place.
Yeah, so just like it was this morning, waking up and then seeing what the playing 11 actually was, I'm sure it'll be the exact same on Wednesday morning. That just picking up a point that you made more, that Osama, who's joined today as well, has actually made as well that PCB made a mistake to put Shadab as the vice captain. Because of this, they're obviously going to be reluctant to take him out now. He's harming the team composition at the moment. His primary role is a spinner and taking wickets, which, as we mentioned, over the past 6 or 7 international games, he hasn't been doing, unfortunately. So, does he get a game? Does he not get a game in the third ODI? How easy is it to take the vice captain out? Could they bring Usman Qadir in? But then obviously they lose a batsman. Could we bring Mohammad Nawaz in? Bring in an extra, the all-rounders, maybe bump up the batting from that side. Shuaib makes the point that, well, PCB should have the answer now that Asif is not a finisher. We had the answer for that quite a while ago, and I think we've spoken about the PCB management over and over again, and not just in this show but in other shows as well. And there's obviously sometimes where you play as 50-50 and then you roll the dice and you go with that person. But there are some picks that the team do that just beg a belief. I just can't understand what the logic is behind it, and the problem is that in doing that, you're keeping other people out, other players out, batsmen, bowlers, keepers, all-rounders, etc. And that whole thing into the domestic scene where it's changing over the past few months, and then going into 2021, it's going to be changing. So it'll be interesting to see what's actually going to happen there. Are more players going to start coming up? Because if you read social media, even if we had a team of 60 players, we still won't be able to satisfy everyone, basically. We're coming to the end of the show now, so we've spoken quite a bit about who we'd actually have, which players that we'd change for the third ODI, and we've obviously said that there's going to be 5 or 6 players that South Africa are going to lose for the third ODI. It's 1-1. We've won in South Africa before in an ODI series. Surely we're not going to mess this one up, are we, Shazib?
I hope not. But you know what?
You have to say, of course, we're not going to mess it up.
We got this. Come on. We got this, Tony. But you know what it is? You know, when we go into a series and it's 1-0 or 2-2, and it comes to the final ODI, I feel like with the Pakistan cricket, they don't change much. You know, when it comes to the 11, they want to go with the best bet, safe option. So I don't think they're going to change much with the final ODI. You know, I just got a feeling. But nevertheless, whatever side we go with, they're going to have 6 key players missing. You can't mess this up. There'll be a lot of pressure on them because, they've got, Rabada and Nokia, all these kind of players missing. But this is our chance to win the ODI series in South Africa now. Just go there, make the changes that are needed. If I wake up on Wednesday and see Asif Ali in the 11, listen, I don't want to say anything, but I just...
If you see that, you're going to rip that cushion apart, aren't you?
Yeah, I got it right over there. If I see Asif Ali, my cushion's going to go across the room probably. But yeah, surely now, Mispa or whoever's making the decision, whether it's Baba or Mispa, we'll see. Listen, we can't go with Asif. Let's play Haider. Even Nawaz. I prefer Nawaz as a batsman over Asif Ali at this point. Like, it's that bad. But yeah, I hope they do make the right changes. We got the right combination. Regarding the 6th ball, I think we do need it. I think that's one of the reasons why they carried on the Aziz to bowl 3-4 overs of Aziz as well. I thought he could have bowled a few more overs today, personally, but that's another debate. But like I said, make the right changes. It's going to be the B team, as you want to call it, essentially. You're missing 5-6 players. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. It's still going to be difficult, you know what I mean? We're playing away at South Africa. But yeah, make the right changes that are needed. Asif Ali, no words, but yeah, let him get him out the team. And then the others, you know what, whoever they want to pick, if they want to bring in Usman Qadir, Shadab, I don't mind that. If they want to bring in Abdullah Shafiq, maybe whoever, I don't mind. But the main should be Asif Ali out the header. That's the first change I want to see. The rest, I don't mind what happens. But yeah, inshallah, Wednesday we got this, win the ODI series, then move on to that.
Yeah. The only thing that I want to point out there is that when South Africa toured Pakistan a month or 2 ago, and for the T20 squad, it was a second string side there as well. And wasn't the games weren't straightforward for us. We were thinking, okay, where's Rabada, where's this guy, where's that guy, and it wasn't a walkover for us.
Exactly.
We made a hard game of it. So I'd be surprised if it's going to be a walkover on Wednesday, because as we've seen, South Africa's bench is strong. It's not saying they're going to go to their bench and it's going to be a complete walkover. So it'll be interesting to see that. And then obviously we're all going for a 2-1 victory for Pakistan in the series. Anyone say no? Come on,
We are.
You're not nodding your head, man. Where is this passion from all you guys?
Can I pick on some comments? Like I'm reading some comments about Abdullah Shafiq being given a chance.
Sorry, just bear in mind that we are going to be wrapping up. So yeah, if you go through the comments.
Just a quick one on that one. Abdullah Shafiq is an opener, so I doubt Imam or any of Fakhr will be dropped. So we won't probably see him in the next game. Danish Aziz might still play. Just as Mo mentioned, that changing him in the middle of the series, just giving him all 3 full chances to prove himself, he might stay as well. And I agree with Shahzeeb. One thing we all want to see is Asif out of the team and replaced by Heather.
Just on that one comment, the last year South Africa, I wanted Josh out of the team and he's gone. Now Asif Ali, so let's hope to keep him.
So can I just clarify this? We want Asif Ali out of the team. Is that right?
Yes, 100%.
Honestly,
Yes,
to be honest,
yes.
for me, I think the third ODI, I don't think if Asif Ali's in the side or no, I don't think Pakistan can really mess it up with the side that we have against South Africa. But if they put him in or not, I want to see Haider Ali playing in the Zimbabwe series at least. So to be honest, for me, I wouldn't really mind too much.
Yeah. And that's the thing, that Asif Ali is just one person.
Yeah.
Okay? Whether we agree with it or we don't agree with it, whatever the reasoning is, he's just one person. It doesn't mean that the other 10 people can't stand up. We lost the game today, and Asif Ali made 19 of 27. But we can't put the loss on him, on just that one person, can we?
No, we can't. But he's a consistent failure. That's the problem.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he should be in the team. What I'm saying is that he's just one person. There are 10 other people in the team as well. So we need to stand up. And just playing kind of devil's advocate here, he was good in the field as well. And I think overall, that's one of the surprising things. That, okay, we conceded 341 runs, but our fielding was good. I think we have to say that. There was the fielding was quite good in the first ODI, and then it was definite improvement in the second ODI. So we're all going for a 2-1 victory for Pakistan. Another ODI series victory in South Africa. So just in closing then, Mo, I know it's been your debut on this show for us today. Shazad, sorry, we're going to have to close it off.
One comment, which everyone is
sorry, Shazad.
making.
Shazad, sorry, we're going to have to close it off.
Okay.
Mo, I know it's been your debut on the show. Do you have any closing comments?
Just the comment made by Imi in the comment section there, the 11 that he gave. That's the 11 I said at the start of the series. I agree with that. And then whether you play Usman Qadir for Hasnain or Ralph was the only thing I'd say, which is condition dependent. So yeah, I agree with the comment made there.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining, Shazad. Thank you very much for joining, Shazeb. Thank you very much for joining Mo. Jazakallah khair to all our viewers who've joined us from all over the world. And thank you very much for your comments. And inshallah, we will see you on Wednesday evening. Please look out on our Twitter, on our social media account, for what time the show will be, either 6:30 or 7 o'clock UK time. We'll be posting updates on there. 1-1, we're here. We're on the verge of a victory over in South Africa. We'll end it as always with Pakistan.
Zindabad.
Yeah.